Hi boys and girls, my name is Miss Melissa and I am a teaching artist in the PACE Art program. You might be watching this in your classroom or you may be watching this at home. But no matter where you are, we are going to have fun today. We're going to learn about communities. Did you know that there are 3 different types of communities? Well, today we are going to make one together. An urban community, and here is an example. I am going to need you to use your imagination. I would like you to pretend that you were going to design an urban community, something like this. I would also like you to pretend that maybe you could live there or go visit there. Well, here are the supplies that you are going to need. A pair of scissors, a glue stick. If you don't have a glue stick, you can get a glue bottle, your box of crayons, 3 sheets of construction paper, 1 sheet for the sky, and 2 different color sheets for the buildings. For example, here I chose a blue sky for the daytime. If that's what you want, you can choose blue. If you want a nighttime sky, you can choose black for your background. And if you would like a sunset sky, you can pick any of these colors for your background. Okay? So again, you need 1 sheet for your background sky color and 2 sheets for your buildings. Here I have orange and green, and then I'm going to choose these 2 for my buildings. So go ahead and get your supplies ready while I show you a thing or two about communities. Here are pictures of 3 different communities. You can see how they are all different. The VS stands for versus, meaning this one versus that one versus that one. It just compares, okay? So let's go over each one together. This is a rural community. Say it with me. Rural community. It's also known as the countryside or the country. This one is called a suburban community. Say that with me. Suburban community, also known as a neighborhood. And the last one is an urban community, also known as a city or town. And you can see the differences in each one, right? This one, you don't see that many houses at all. Lots of land. You can see the sky. Could be a barn house, right? Or just regular houses that live in the country. Here you see a lot of houses very close together in a neighborhood. And then here you see very tall buildings, some skyscrapers even, with lots of windows, busy roads, lights, cars. So you can see the differences. Now, if you've been watching me, you will know that a community is a group of people living in the same area and they share what is in their surroundings. You can live in any of these communities, and you can go to any of these communities for your needs and wants. For example, I live in a suburban community. I basically live in a big neighborhood, okay? But I work in the city because this is where I need to go. Now, one of my favorite places to go to is a candy store. Guess where that is? It is actually in the country, and that is where I would like and want to go. So since we are making an urban community, I am wondering What would it be like to travel to one? What do you think? You think you would be busy with a lot of traffic? What do you think it would be like to live there? It would probably be pretty noisy, huh? But I bet a lot of fun too, because there's so many places to go. I don't know about you, but I am ready to make and design my urban community. Here I have lines and shapes. We are going to use a straight line today to design the road that our buildings are going to go on. We are also going to use this rectangular shape for the design of the buildings, and we are going to use this square shape to design the windows. And we're also going to use this rectangular shape to design the, you guessed it, the doors. All right, so here's my background paper. I decided to do a nighttime sky, and I'm going to have pink and purple buildings. So, first thing I want you to do, no matter what color sky you have, we're going to design a road. So I want you to take your yellow crayon and, I want you to imagine what a road looks like at the bottom of your paper. No matter what color paper you have, draw a straight line, okay? And you're going to make some little straight lines with your yellow crayon. And I'm pressing, kind of hard because I have black paper. So if you chose blue paper or any color sunset sky paper like orange, pink, red, or yellow, you're still going to be doing the same thing. Okay? Now, what I want you to do with your black crayon is color inside of the rectangular shape that you just made, going around the yellow dashes. Now, I have a black paper, but I'm still going to color with you. So if you have black, you can do the same. So no matter what color paper you have, you are going to be coloring in the road. We just used straight lines to design our road. And why do you think I'm putting a road here? Remember when I showed you the 3 communities? What was one thing that an urban community, also known as city, what is one thing that it had? Lots of roads, right? That's how cars can travel there. So go ahead and finish coloring your road, and then we're going to start folding and cutting paper to design our buildings. All right, very good job, boys and girls. Now it's time to start making our buildings. What I want you to do is take your 2 sheets of construction paper, whatever color you chose. I want you to stack them up together, and I want you to fold them in half like a book. The corners and the sides are going to touch. Should look just like this. If you ended up with a giant hot dog bun, please fold it this way. So once you fold it, make a crease, and we are going to cut these in half. Get your scissors. Remember, your thumb goes in the little hole and the fingers go in the big hole, and you're going to open wide and close. Slide the paper in the back of the scissors mouth, open and close. Okay? Same thing with the other paper. You're going to open and close. Slide the paper in the back and close. So keep cutting until you get 2 sheets of each color. Okay, so you should have something like this. So go ahead and finish cutting. Now, we're not going to need all of this. I want you to take 1 sheet of one color and 1 sheet of the other. Please stick it in your desk. We do not need it, or just put it aside. Now you should have 1 sheet of each color. Okay? All right. Now, what I want you to do, we're going to fold both of these the same way. I want you to make a hot dog bun out of both of them. So let's do that together. You're going to fold over. Make sure the sides and corners touch. I'm going to do that for each of them, okay? Fold it into a hot dog bun shape. The sides and the corners touch. And then after you get 2 different colored hot dog buns, we're going to open up our paper and cut on that crease. So we can do it together. Remember how to put your thumb into the little hole of the scissors. Okay? And after you cut 1 sheet, you should end up with how many rectangles? 2. So I have 2 rectangles of one color, and now let's do the same thing here. And if something happens, you could always pause the video if you get behind, but you can also watch and, catch up and see what I'm doing. All right, so you should end up with 2 rectangles of each color. Total, let's count together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Great job. All right, so now we need to turn these into buildings, right? We have the basic rectangular shape. Now we're just the goal is to end up with 4 different size buildings. So I want you to pick the 2 buildings that are going to be the shortest. Okay, you can pick any color. I'm just going to pick the same color. So just pick 2 rectangles, and we're going to make these the short ones. You decide what color you want for your short buildings, okay? All right, so what I want you to do is fold both of these, pick 2, in half, where the sides and the corners touch. Make a crease. Okay, now we're going to cut on the crease. Here's one, and here's the other. Basically, we're just folding and cutting paper. And if you get lost or confused, you can really, as long as you end up with 4 different size rectangles, you're fine. I'm just showing you one way to do it. All right, so we need to keep 2, and then we can get rid of the other 2. Please put 2 rectangular shapes inside your desk. We don't need them, or put them aside. Now I have 2 smaller buildings, right? Pick one, leave one alone, that one's done. Fold it in half. So the one that you pick, fold it in half. We're going to cut this on the crease. See that? Get rid of one, and then keep one. So now we have a short building and I guess you can call this a medium, right? Medium-sized building. Now that leaves us 2 tall buildings, all right? So one of them, how would y'all like to make one of them touch the sky? Let's do that. So place your building on top of your road, and you could see where it runs off the page, right? So right at about right here, I'm going to fold my paper over to where it looks even with the sky, and I'm going to cut that off. Let's do that together. You can just kind of guess. But remember, you have to put it, we want our buildings to be you know, above the line of the road. So right above the road, just like that. So now I have the giant building, the medium, and the short. Very good. I am going to make this one like maybe in between. So I'm just gonna guess. About right there is where, because remember we want to have 4 different sizes. About right there. I'm gonna fold my, I'm putting my finger where, how tall I want my building to be. So once you line up your buildings on the bottom of where the road is, put your finger about how tall you want it to be. I want mine to be in between. You will make this one a tall one, just not as big as this one. Okay? So I put my finger on the paper of where I wanted the height of this building to be. I'm going to get rid of that small piece, and then I'm going to put all of my buildings together. I should see how many different sizes? 4. Very good. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have giant, tall, medium, and short. Now let's go ahead and glue these on, and you can decide the order. So maybe you can kind of mix it up, huh? It's fun to be the designer of a city. You can decide the color buildings you have, where you want to put them. I'm not sure. So just kind of move them around and see what you think looks good, okay? I don't know. I think I like it the way I had it. Maybe put this one here. And we're gonna glue the rectangles on top of the road, and they're going to be touching each other. Okay, I'm happy with that. So I'm gonna take the glue stick, leave just a little bit, like that, and spread it all along the back. And I'm gonna basically draw a rectangle. Do you see that? On the outline of my buildings. Why am I drawing a rectangle? Well, because it's going to make the sides stick. Now, if you have a bottle of glue, you should only be putting maybe 4 dots. 1, 2, 3, 4 in each corner. Okay? Make sure to press and glue it right on top of your road. So if you have a glue bottle, 4 dots, 1 in each corner. If you have a glue stick, we're basically tracing or drawing with the glue on the edges of our paper. See? Just like that. And I'm kind of overlapping a little bit. All right. Now, I want you to pretend, well, we have to go, we have to make what? What's missing? I have doors and windows missing because we have to get into the buildings, right? And they're very tall, so there's several stories. So let's go ahead and make our windows and doors. You can choose whatever color you would like. You're the designer. So I think I'm going to make some blue doors and windows. I'm using a rectangle shape for my doors, and we're going to draw squares for windows. Many times when you see buildings in a city, there are lots of windows. I'm just going to color them blue. Maybe this particular building has blue curtains or, you know, blue lights, blue walls, something. So you get to be very creative. Now let's pretend you're going to go visit the city, right? What do you think it would be like to live there? You would pretty much have to really like having neighbors, huh? Because maybe you'll live in an apartment complex and it'll go way up to the 10th floor even. So this is going to take some time to draw windows. Now I'm only adding 3 windows across. You can add 5. Maybe you just want 2. Maybe you're adding 4. So you can design however many windows you would like. This kind of takes time. Do you think the people that live in apartments in the city can hear the cars go down the street? Yeah, probably so. I lived in a city a while back and I remember hearing lots. I lived right off of the interstate and I remember hearing lots of cars. It was very busy. I lived right off the highway. So yeah, I think I'm going to change colors. Why not? Let's see. If this is since purple is a dark color, I could even use white to make the windows and doors here. Now, what if you were going to travel? I want you to use your imagination. Let's pretend you were going to travel to the city, right? What kind of places do you think you would want to go to in these really tall buildings? There's probably different floors, different stories, right? The last time I went into a really big city was when I went to New Orleans, and the downtown area had lots of things to do. Some places that I would like to go to would be a coffee shop for sure. Do you think they have video stores in the city? Oh, I bet they do. I bet they even have a roller skating rink or an ice skating rink. What do you think about a theater? Would you like to go to a theater? Or even the mall? Or you can just relax and go to a bookstore. So do you think there's going to be a lot of places to go see things and do things in the city? Absolutely. And the great thing is that once you're there, you can walk, or if there's a subway, you can take a subway, or you could even take a cab, right? Let's see. I don't really see this color too much. I tried to use a yellow green. I don't think that shows. Let me try another color. What about peach? There we go. That shows up a little bit better. So go ahead and keep designing your urban community. Remember, you can add any color windows and doors that you would like. And we're going to do one last thing to this. Before we go. Now, if you don't finish your windows in class, you can always finish them at home. Because, like I said, it takes a little while. It takes time to design buildings. And a lot of times when you see tall buildings, you usually have 2 ways to enter, right? So I'm putting 2 doors on each building. Maybe I can go back and mix a couple of colors to make it a little bit brighter. Now, what I'd like you to do once you finish your windows is maybe put something in the sky, right? So if you have a daytime sky, which would be blue, maybe you'll see the sun or some clouds, right? And if you have a sunset sky, maybe you're going to see some pink, orange, and even yellow clouds. And if you have a nighttime sky, maybe you're going to see some stars at night, or even the moon, right? So you get to be creative and design what's going to go in your sky. Maybe there'll even be an airplane flying above. Now this is, all the background is the sky, so I'm just going to keep adding some stars where I see open space. I bet your picture is coming out great. I think you're doing a great job. And boys and girls, keep in mind, your picture may be very different than your neighbor's. Maybe your neighbor is going to have a blue sky with clouds, with green and orange buildings, right? Maybe they're going to have even a sunset sky with red buildings or purple, or maybe they'll just have a nighttime sky. And before I go, I want you to know that anytime you take paper and crayons and put it together on one picture, it's called mixed media. So you just made a mixed media piece of artwork. Thanks for joining me today. We learned about so many things. We learned about 3 types of communities. Do you remember what they are? Urban, suburban, and rural. We learned that urban communities may be a bit noisy, but also a fun place to live or visit. We also learned how to design a city by using shapes. Do you remember what those shapes are? Squares and rectangles. Good. And we even used our imagination to pretend that we traveled to the city and that we possibly lived there. As you go through the rest of your week, maybe you will get a chance to travel to an urban community. I don't know, maybe you even live there, which is great too. Well, I hope you have a great day, and I will see you next time.